Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mind Body Medicine for Chronic Pain podcast. I am Sean Hershey. I am your host. I'm so glad you're here with me today. And we have just hit season 6. Here we are at the beginning of a new season. And what a great way to kick it off with an awesome interview with fellow New York City psychotherapist Jess Freedman. Jess shares her story about overcoming some really serious debilitating symptoms, major surgery that required a week in the hospital for thoracic outlet syndrome. And guess what? It turned out that that was a normal abnormality. She had physical findings on not just one MRI, but she had several rounds of imaging done, had a major surgery. It turned out this was a normal abnormality. And well, you'll hear the story. I'm not going to go any further than that. You will hear the story. It's a great one. And this episode ends with her talking to us about how she works with clients now as a therapist. And she does this kind of mind body works, same as I do. And we get into talking about Jess's journey from starting out in a very dogmatic, theoretical certainty, like this is how you heal from pain, this is not how you heal from pain. And we talk about her journey away from that level of rigidity and towards a practice that's more trusting of what exists inside the client and trusting of what exists inside herself. What we're talking about there is patiently attuning to your true self. Now, if you listen to this podcast, you know there are 3 parts to healing chronic pain. Part 1, the psychological work, teaching your brain and your nervous system that it's safe to feel sensations in your body. Number 2, the emotional work, which is teaching your brain and your nervous system that it is safe to feel your emotions. And then number 3, patiently attuning to your true self. And this is difficult, and it's we get into talking about this in Jess and I together. It's very individualized for each person, and it is a very important part of chronic pain recovery. And I'm excited for you to hear this episode with Jess because it's okay if it's difficult for you to understand what patiently attuning to your true self and like what underlying patterns you have to work through and what is your false self and what is your true self and what are you fighting against. If you're fighting against your true self, yeah, if you see your true self as a danger, like that's going to be a problem. That is very likely going to cause chronic pain. So it's important. And the way that Jess talks about this, I just hope that it might, to hear the two of us talk about it together might land with you in a slightly different way. So here's to hoping that this takes your healing a little deeper into an individualized place for you. Okay, this is a fun one. Lots of laughs, good times. This is a fun vibe. And yeah, let's talk to Jess. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mind Body Medicine for Chronic Pain podcast. I am here today with my friend and colleague, Jess Freedman. Hi, Jess.
Hi, Sean.
So Jess and I have known each other for a while now, and we're both therapists in this space. And Jess is also, I believe you are in charge of the ATNS NYC chapter. Is that correct?
Yes, I am the co-founder of the New York ATNS Chapter, Rewire NYC.
Yes, also called, of course, Rewire NYC.
Catchier than the New York chapter of the Association for the Treatment of Neuroplastic Symptoms.
Right. A really good rebrand that we did. A good New York rebrand.
Yes.
But yeah, why don't you take a minute to introduce yourself to the listeners so people know who you are?
Yeah. So I'm Jess. I am a psychotherapist here in New York City on the Upper West Side. And I do the mind-body chronic pain thing. It's such a relief to be able to say that in this sort of space. Like you and hopefully the listeners know what that means. But I treat chronic pain and everything that comes with it through a mind body holistic lens. And I set the intention in my practice for my clients that my clients feel like held and loved and like it's a place where they can really just rest and let their true selves emerge, because I've had those spaces held for me. And it's hard to practice that way, but I think it's the best way. Um, and hmm, oh, I was thinking of you because I knew I had this interview and I was with some people I didn't know over the weekend, and they were like, "Oh, what do you do?" They're like, "What do you specialize in chronic pain?" And they're like, "Ugh." And I'm like, "No, it's not ugh."
Right, like, it's actually great.
I can't you can't say that, so I'm just yeah, and I felt this way when I first met you. It's like, "Oh, okay, finally someone I could talk to who sort of gets what we're trying to do here."
Totally. Agreed. Right back at you. Totally. It's funny you say that because I mean, I'm part of like various therapist listservs where people, put out, like, we might even be on some of the same ones where people put out various calls to whatever. Um, and I recently got an email from one of the listservs I'm part of that was like, one of my clients needs resources for pregnancy while dealing with Ehlers-Danlos and POTS. And it was just very clear that the mentality was like, this client has the permanent status of being diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos and being diagnosed with POTS. That's not going to change, but they are going to, they're doing like fertility treatments and whatnot, and therefore they need resources of, somebody to help them manage how difficult this is obviously going to be for them. And I'm like, I would love to respond to this, but we're in such different paradigms. Like, I don't even know. We're in such different paradigms. So I ended up
Yeah.
actually sending some resources from Gigi Kakel
Yes.
and what was the other one? From Grace Secker, who was on my podcast. I ended up sending those two resources and just was like, hey, hope this helps. So we'll see where that
Yeah,
goes. But I'm with you. Most people are not in this paradigm. Most people don't get it.
no, and you're doing a lot of, like, "Don't be mad at me."
Right. Like, I'm not invalidating your entire experience and like trying to cause more medical trauma for you, but I think this might not be a permanent condition. This might be workable. You might be able to recover. You might be able to, at the very least, get a lot better. But people don't, people want to hear that and they don't.
I know, and, like, I guess we're getting right into it, but there's so much code switching. I feel like that has to
Yes.
happen depending on, like, who you're talking to and how they think about it, and so, yeah, I appreciate this space that we're sort of in the same paradigm and I can sort of speak freely, which is what I'm trying to do more of all the time.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, why don't you let's get into I know you have of course your own story with symptoms.
Mhm.
So why don't we go there?
Well, it's so funny doing this because I feel like everybody when you're in your chronic pain recovery journey, you're like in that everybody goes through like the obsessive podcast listening phase. So like
1,000%.
I listened to when I was in my own recovery, just listen to like obsessive, just listen to so many podcasts and you hear the recovery stories and you're like, am I gonna recover? What would I say if I was on a podcast? And so this is very full circle. And I actually never
Yeah.
said the whole story. So
No, I love that because I'm sure there are people listening who are feeling that exact thing. Feeling like, will I ever recover to the point where I can tell my story and be a success? And the answer is like, probably. You're on this path. Like, you're doing the right thing. Like, you will get there. But yeah, wherever you want to start with the story.
yeah. So I'm gonna do it and try not to dissociate or try to
Yeah.
stay as
Yeah.
grounded as possible. We'll
Yeah.
see how it goes.
Yeah.
So I have a theater background. I grew up doing musical theater and I did that in college. And so I didn't piece this together until I started doing this work, but I had like every symptom under the sun right at the worst times. Like a
Mm.
stress fracture in my foot before I was the lead in a show where I had to dance and I didn't feel
Mm,
confident in the costume. I had chronic strep throat. I had my tonsils out. I had,
mm,
I think I just had simply every symptom. I had laryngitis before, um, I was a lead in a show. I had,
wow.
muscle pain, like voice pain. And when I was in college, I had to
Wow.
like postpone my senior recital because I had like muscle tension dysphonia in my throat. Like I had it all. I also had
Is it I just wanna butt in to say, like, it so often hits you where it hurts the most. Like,
a
I've never had those symptoms, like, it hits you where it hurts the
It
most,
really
but yeah,
does.
yeah, go
It
on.
really does. I know. I don't always get into my woo, like, the symptom. There's so much that goes into what the symptom is and where it is, but yeah, it's always right where you don't want it. And so I was always like, I definitely had that identity of like, I always get the weirdest things. Like, I'm always sick. I always get sick at the worst times. I had a knee surgery after my freshman year of college from, like, dancing and overstretching. And then so I had all these symptoms. I had the IB, I've done the SIBO diet. I've simply done everything. And then in COVID, I developed like horrific, unrelenting shoulder pain. I say shoulder pain because it is easier to say, but it was like pain in the front of my chest, in my neck, in the back, like in my scapula. I feel like a lot of people have that spot, like just sort of in your upper back. And I had
I have had that. That I'm like, I know what you're talking about. I've had
and
that.
recently I'm gonna try not to go on so many tangents, but somebody who I really admire and respect, just sort of in passing, mentioned that he had pain there. So I was like,
Mm.
maybe it's maybe it's special. Maybe it's something in that spot. That's truly what I thought. Um, and like nerve pain down the arm, and of course, then it spread to the other side, and it just was like it came on. It came on in the pandemic the night before I moved out of my apartment because I was like
Mm,
leaving the city, and I was pursuing theater up until that point, and then like the world shut down. There was no more theater. Like
mm.
not a stressful time at all, of course.
Right,
Um,
right. My boyfriend at the time, now ex-boyfriend, was a actor, and he was in a show on Broadway, actually, which was very, like, special, and, the sh everything closed down. He was, like, he was at home all the time. I was in the next room doing my telehealth sessions, working for a hospital clinic. Yeah, theater was just, like, dead for a while.
Yeah, and I hadn't made it very far. I had only sort of been auditioning for about 2 years. I was auditioning and working
Oh,
at a gym,
damn.
and I was miserable. And I
Yeah,
really I mean, the pandemic saved my life in a lot of ways. I know that that's
same.
obviously it was terrible in a lot of other how
Right,
many just
right. No, it was good for me.
yes,
I'm with you. It was good
it
for me.
really set me straight,
Yes, same.
because I was auditioning and I was also working at a gym, and
Yeah.
I was putting all of my insecurity into working out as hard as I could. So I was like lifting weights and then taking these classes, and I could not get myself to these auditions. I was miserable. Um and I didn't want to admit that because I had worked so hard. I had worked my whole life to do that. And so in COVID I had the sense I was like, okay, this is going to be a long time. This is going to come back slowly, and I can't emerge out of whatever this is at the bottom of this
Yeah.
career. And I remember I had this moment sitting on my childhood bedroom or sitting in my childhood bedroom in my bed with my dad and just being like, "What the fuck am I gonna do?" Like, it
Yeah.
was just and you know what? Thank God I had the symptoms because I think being with the reality of what I was going through emotionally would have, like, destroyed me. Like, thank God thank God for
Yeah.
that shoulder pain, it kept me very busy. But so it was horrible. It was, like, daily unrelenting pain. Um,
Mm.
I'm breathing, I'm looking around the room, I am safe. I
Yeah, yeah.
I had every test. I had and it's the pandemic, right? So it's like you have the mask and you're waiting
Of
for the
course.
doctor and
Oh gosh, of course.
um and I was just doing crazy shit. I was like I got all these different diagnoses and then I got the diagnosis of thoracic outlet. And so,
Hmm.
which only, like, professional baseball players get, which is hilarious.
Right. So of course you got it
If
too,
you know
'cause
me,
why not? Right.
done sports a day in my life. And so, of course, it's like, oh, well, there's, like, the thoracic outlet specialist PT that you have to see, and he was in New
Right.
York, I was in Connecticut at the time. He only had appointments at, like, 7 in the morning, so I'm, like,
Oh,
having my
wow.
mom drive me to the city. God bless my mom. God bless my whole
Oh,
family.
man.
To these appointments, it's just sort of getting worse and worse and worse. And eventually, they're like, it spreads to the other side, and thoracic outlet is quote unquote like a structural thing. I feel like sometimes I get some street cred with clients because I'm like, well, I have a structural injury and I feel okay. So it's
There you go.
the explanation is that the nerves and the blood vessels in between your collarbone and first rib are getting compressed. And so it's causing all
Mm,
these symptoms. And so I eventually
mm.
get to the point where, PT is not working, all these things aren't working.
Well, and just to clarify, you did have that, like, that was an actual finding that you do really have.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
also, to skip ahead, I found out later that because the surgery I ended up having is so risky, doctors wanna
Mm,
make sure you really have it. So, like,
mm.
every new doctor I went to, I had to get the MRIs, like, all over again.
Yeah. So you for sure have it.
Yeah, in
Okay.
bilaterally. And
And pain on one side, well, I guess pain on both sides, but major pain on one
pain
side.
was mostly on the left side, then it spread to the right, then it was the same in both sides for a while, and then well, I won't spoil the ending. So,
Okay. Oh my god, I'm at the edge of my seat.
I'm like I wrote down, like, on a sheet of paper, like, the beats of the story so I don't get too far off, and I'm like, "We are at the beginning, Sean.
Okay. Well, we've got time.
Just
Go
slap
ahead.
it." So I get this prognosis that's like, you have months. I forget if it was like you have weeks, not months, or you have months, not years, like, to take care of this, to have this operation.
Oh, wow.
The operation involves removing a piece of your rib, removing a piece of your neck, and
Oh,
removing
wow.
like, of your scalene and removing a piece of your pec. Um,
Wow.
and so I was told by all of these very important surgeons that I needed to get this surgery, I needed to get it on both sides, and then it was like a wild goose chase to get the surgery because the surgeon who told me that didn't do it, and no one in New York did it, no one in Connecticut did it. So, like,
Oh,
I remember
whoa.
I just remember I remember about this time, like, just, like, crying at night in so much pain and, trigger warning, and I've heard my clients say versions of this, and so I really resonate deeply with it, but, like, sort of staring at the ceiling and being like, "I wanna live, but I can't live like this. Like, this
Yeah.
is no way to live." It was
Yeah.
just unrelenting. Um,
Yeah.
and so eventually I find a surgeon in Boston
Oh
who
god.
in Massachusetts. I'm living in New York at the time, living in Brooklyn at the time. I find a surgeon in Massachusetts who will do
Mm,
it. Of course, then
wow.
I have to get all the tests all over again.
Oh,
And I have, like,
jeez,
bad
wow.
claustrophobia. It has gotten much better, as my overall anxiety has gone down, but, like, I don't love being in that machine. You
No, I've only had one MRI in my life, and that's not fun. That is not fun.
MRIs are traumatic, like, don't get them
Yeah.
if you don't
Yeah.
really need it. So I have the operation. It's, like, a week in the hospital, it's this whole thing.
Oh, man, I did not realize that. You were inpatient for a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Um,
Okay, wow.
and everyone was so nice. Shout out to
Um,
Tufts Hospital. Um,
yeah.
at this time, I had switched to media because I was like, "Okay, I know
Mm,
I'm smart. I need to, like,
mhm,
use my brain in some way. I need to." So I was working for, like, a at first I was working for a, like, public policy paper, and then I was like,
mm.
"Don't know enough about public policy to keep." And then I was a video producer for a wellness media company. So
Hmm,
this whole time I'm working at this wellness media company, and I loved the work. I had a very challenging boss. So I
mm.
really credit her with, like, she really helped me put 2 and 2 together that, like,
Mm.
the stress and the pain. I'd still be in media, I think, stressed
Wow.
my little butt off. So
Wow.
I have the surgery. I have the surgery in April 2021. Months go by, I'm not really getting better. If anything, I'm getting
Mm.
worse.
Oh,
Um,
no.
and I everything sort of culminates with like, you can't get back in touch with the surgeon once you've had surgery. First of all,
Mm,
getting in touch with any
mm,
of these people is like the Olympics. Like,
absolutely.
cold,
It's so
press
true.
1, like that. And
Yeah.
also the like day of my surgery, my insurance said they weren't gonna cover it, and so we're on the phone. Like, I'm like in the gown on the phone. My hair starts falling out after this surgery, like chaos,
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so my surgeon, when I finally get in touch with him and I'm not getting better, he's like, "Maybe you have, like, a blood clot." And so I think I have a blood clot. I'm getting, like, yelled at by my boss. This night, I think, was rock bottom. I, like
Mm,
I ended up in the emergency room with what
mm,
I now understand was, like, a panic attack. And
mhm.
I had just been through so much at that point, I, like, couldn't speak. I was like, "My shoulder hurts." They're like, "Did you fall?" And I just, like,
Oh,
couldn't
God.
I think I was just so overloaded that I
Yeah.
literally like, lost the ability to speak. So,
Yeah.
whenever a client comes to me with, like, that they've been through something and somebody doesn't believe them, I'm like, "I believe you because I couldn't
Yeah.
speak." I cou
Yeah.
So then I'm admitted tested for a stroke because I can't
Oh,
speak.
man. Wow. Oh my god.
As
Wow.
I tell this,
Wow.
I'm like, "This is insane."
It is. It
They're
is.
like, "Oh, you go ahead. You go."
Well, let me just say, I'm glad you're sharing all this of the power
Mhm.
of the neuroplastic symptoms. Like, it can be so the fact that you were literally at a hospital getting triaged, and they thought you might be having a stroke.
Yeah.
And I know we're not spoiling the ending, but, I kinda know where this is going,
Right,
and
right.
so it's like so it's like, this is the power. This is the power of these symptoms. But yeah, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
and everyone's story is, like, the same in their way. Like, it's the
Right.
most horrible thing that's happened to each and every person, but the beats of the story are very similar. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, you can sit there on the other side and be like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yep, yep." Um, and so at that point, I was very resistant to going on medication for a lot of my life. So at that point, I was like, "Well, I was in the hospital, couldn't speak. Maybe I should get this."
Yes, it's time.
So I went on medication, and then my surgeon was like, "It's time for pain management." Again, no one in New York will see me because I've had this complicated procedure, and I think probably just too much of a liability. So it ends up
Mm,
that, like, the anesthesiologist from my surgery, because I guess people who do anesthesia are like, they also do pain management, or some of them do. So
mm.
he was like, "I'll see you for pain management." So I'm going back and forth from New York to
Boston.
Boston
Oh my
in like a
gosh.
day doing.
That's also just so shocking. I feel like it's always the other way around. Like, people come here from Boston for medical procedures, just like a weird reverse.
I was like,
I
"No
don't
one in
know.
New York can give me, like, I don't know, Botox in my shoulder."
It's like, this is New York City. Wake up, people.
Yeah.
Everything's supposed to be available here.
So I have some funny
Anyway.
memories. I was actually back in Boston where I just was the
Mm,
other weekend, and I was like, "I've come so far." But so I'm going back and forth to Boston. I'm doing everything again under the sun. I'm doing nerve ablation and injections and this and that, and, eventually, I get the, like, "You're gonna be in pain forever, like, this is just sort of how it is," because I still wasn't getting better, and I came home to New York, and I had what I can only describe was like I mean, I'm Jewish, but like a come to Jesus moment, like, I was just like, "That this is not true." I just had this very
mm,
strong sense of, like, you are meant to have a good life,
Mm,
and
mhm.
that life doesn't include this pain, and so that just
yeah.
can't be true. Um,
Yeah.
and I had no evidence to the contrary, like, I had no evidence that
Mm,
that was true, but I just had a sense. I was like,
Mhm,
this is not how my story goes." So,
mhm.
up until that point, I was very resistant to use the chronic pain label
yeah.
because I was like, "Chronic pain is, like, for people who are always complaining." Like, I
Yeah.
did not want to claim that, and I was very,
Totally.
"Well, I don't have chronic pain." Yes, I've been in pain
Mhm.
every day for 2 years, but, I
Right, right, but I don't have chronic pain, I have this issue with my shoulder,
it's
and, like, I
totally
have
different.
thoracic yeah, exactly, thoracic outlet syndrome, whatever yeah, it's like, I have that.
I actually don't have that, and I'm gonna get better. This is not chronic pain, I'm gonna get better. So, finally,
Right.
after this is November 2021, I've had the surgery
Mm,
in April, and I just type
mm,
in chronic pain into my like podcast app, and I find a podcast that leads me to the book, The Way Out, the audiobook.
Hmm.
Now, the
Hmm.
book had come out a month prior.
Oh, wow.
The book
Okay.
came out
Wow.
in, I think, October 2021, Alan Gordon's book. It's November
Hmm.
2021, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, this is me. This is me,
Yeah.
and I'm listening to the book, and again, I have this powerful moment of like, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna work, and then I am gonna do this as a career. Like, this is what I am called.
Wow.
And I'm so
Wow.
media.
The fact that that all hit in one moment, that's wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a powerful evening in touch with
Yeah.
intuition. And of course that didn't sort of like come to be for a long time. I knew I needed to get out of the job that I was in. I was like working with a career coach and I really wanted to do something meaningful and like start building something. Um and so my therapist at the time, my longtime therapist who I'd been seeing since I was 14 was like,
Oh,
you
wow.
should be a therapist.
Aw,
And I was like,
that's
I
beautiful.
knew that. Like, I had always thought I would be a therapist maybe later in life. But when she
Mm,
said it, she actually said I should be a sports psychologist. And so I thought I was going to do
mm,
that and then looked it up and realized you had to like work with sports teams. So I was like, maybe not that.
mhm.
So I left my job. I actually, my mom directs this like youth theater program in the town that I'm
Oh, cool.
and she's always like, you should help with the show. You should help with the show. I'm like, I'm not helping with the show. I live in New York. I'm not doing that.
Right.
So I directed her show. I like left my job,
Mm,
directed her show in Connecticut, and it was like the most healing experience. I was with all of these
nice.
little, I mean, they weren't little, but like these kids who want to be Broadway stars and like they love it so
Yeah.
much. And I just
Oh.
like set the intention of like, I want to be the type of theater educator that I wish I had. And
Mm,
it was just so special. And I just realized like my favorite part about my job in media, because I was working on sets doing video production, is like making the talent feel comfortable and like bringing out the best
mm,
in them. And directing is the
mm,
same. And I was still sort of like, because I ended up applying to get my master's in social work. And I was like, is
mhm.
this insane? Like, I remember I felt so insane because I was talking to one of the kids' parents. And they were like, who are you exactly? Are you You're directing the show? And I was like, um, yes, I was in theater, but now I'm in media, but I'm going to be a therapist for chronic pain. And I thought I was insane. She's like, okay.
Come alright. Still don't know who you
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
but
She was like,
okay.
you got a lot going on or something.
Correct.
So I started school and like my life changed. I mean, and it was so funny because in when I was in theater and when I was in media, like it was like running up against a brick wall all the time. It was like I couldn't get anything off the ground. I felt like I had terrible luck. Nothing was working out. And it was like once I stepped into this path, doors just sort of like opened for me in a way that I can't explain. And
Wow.
it's like I got 2 job offers without interviewing, or I got placed at this place and I
Wow.
met this person. I met the man who is now gonna be my husband. Like it just
Oh,
everything sort of came together. And so I've
wow.
definitely become more spiritual as I've moved through this work because I just can't
Yeah,
ignore what I've seen happen in my own life.
yeah.
And honestly, like I love my life right now to the point where it annoys others.
Mm,
Good for you. Good. Winning. Good.
Like I was at like a wedding recently and
mm,
people were like complaining about their jobs and somebody just said like, "Ugh,
right.
I mean, does anyone like their job?" And I don't know what came over me, but I was just like, I love my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh. And so that's my story.
Oh, thank you so much for I'm like, round of applause. That's thank you so much, and let's tie off, the symptoms. Like, talk to us
Yeah.
about, that.
Yeah. I would say so I did pain reprocessing therapy myself as a client, uh,
Mhm.
for about a year, and I did that with a therapist who was also doing IFS, internal family
Mm,
systems.
cool.
And I would say through that, my my symptoms decreased but didn't go away, but I didn't have any
Mhm,
more limitations. Like,
mhm.
I could
Huge.
do anything that I wanted to do. Before I, like, couldn't hold a hairdryer, couldn't do the dishes, like, I could get
Um,
back, and I always was big into working out, so I got back into working out,
mhm,
a lot less
mhm,
fear, but I definitely had this, like, underlying brace and, like,
mhm,
intensity in my symptom or in my system that, when you're like, "It's not time to deal with that yet."
mm,
When you, like, have
mhm.
something and you're like, I'm gonna get to that." It
Yeah.
wasn't until now I am in a, training program for somatic experiencing.
Oh, cool.
So it's a 3-year program, and I'm coming up on the end of my 1st year. And when I
Okay.
started that and, like, a lot of things in my life have changed too, like, I moved, and things in my life are just going very well.
Good.
So
Good.
I sort of now my body's sort of catching up. So when I first
Mhm.
started as a therapist, I definitely felt a little bit like, "But I haven't solved my issues yet,"
Right. Right.
I knew this stuff, but I hadn't really felt I didn't really have that felt sense of, like, okayness in my body that sort of came recently within the last year or
Yeah.
2. And
Yeah.
so
Oh, that's so
I
beautiful.
don't really have
Yeah.
symptoms, but every now and then I'll have a little twinge of something. And
Yeah. Well, that's a great outcome. I don't really have symptoms. Every now and then I have a little twinge of something. That is a great outcome. I love to hear it. And I totally relate to what you're saying. I mean, my biggest symptoms are the IBS and the hip pain, and the IBS is like basic. I mean, I don't have chronic IBS anymore. Like that's I still like I my stomach, it's sensitive for sure. Emotions land in my stomach, like
Mhm.
but I don't have chronic IBS anymore. The hip is the one where I'm like it's all like I know exactly what you mean. Where it's like I get I get it intellectually, and I get it a lot physically, and the hip pain is, like, gone a lot of the time, and then it comes back, and I'm like, "No, why?" It's I'm planning to do an episode on, like, my messy middle recovery from hip pain, so that's gonna be a fun one 'cause it's like, the process happens in multiple layers. I mean, I relate to what you're saying about, like, I got better, but not better. I was back to doing things, but still had symptoms. And even that is a huge success to go from not being able to hold a hair dryer
Mhm.
to being able to like work out. I mean, that's a massive success. It's a massive success. And I think it's hard to celebrate the wins along the way because we like to think like, oh, but I still have problems, whatever. And it's like, sure, you will keep walking this path and it will keep getting better, but it's already working.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like this constant like, I get back in touch with myself, I fall out. I get back in touch with myself, I fall
Yes.
out, and it's like
Same.
I have become more myself and more confident, and it's like as the reward for work is more work.
Yes.
Like, as you do the work, facets of yourself or your life sort of, like, become available to you, and so it doesn't get any easier, but you are just sort of bigger and more capable, and you have more support. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not a solo sport. You
Yeah.
absolutely cannot do it by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Plug for like I think a lot of people try to do this themselves. So I just want to briefly plug like, yes, see a professional. Like for people listening, if this is hard for you, that's totally normal. Don't be shy about seeing a professional. Don't tell yourself you're not allowed to do it. Like you're allowed. You are allowed to work with a professional.
Yes, I have s
But
thoughts on that, and I have to pee, so
okay. We'll take a brief break and we'll be right back. Well, let's segue into this, because now, of course, obviously, you are a professional. What advice do you have for people on this journey? Where do you typically see your clients getting stuck? And what advice, help, or guidance do you typically provide to people now as a professional?
Mm. My fiancé makes fun of me that I went to school for asking questions, not answering questions.
True. Same. Same program. Did you go to NYU? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, I went to the University of Minnesota. The job that I had, we had all our interns from NYU though, so I feel like familiar with the scene. But yes, go
Yes,
on.
and I'm always hesitant to answer questions directly because I'm like, well, this is,
Same.
it's
But because that's the best answer. It's like, I don't know, maybe this, maybe that. I don't know.
yeah. Wait, ask it again because something came up when you asked it, and now I
Okay,
don't
okay.
remember.
What advice, help, or guidance do you typically provide to people as a professional, and where do you see people getting stuck on this journey?
Yes, I will say, before I was a therapist, I was much more like smug. I was much more
Mhm,
like, I know what's best, and I'm so emotionally intelligent, and like you have to do this, and you have to do the journal speak, and you have to, you know, this is what's going
mhm,
on. Your pain is neuroplastic. I was very, yeah, I was very like really thought I knew best
mhm.
um before I was a professional, and now I think the training or like the work is just an exercise in constant humility. Like
Yeah,
trusting yourself and trusting the systems of the people you're working with. Um,
yeah.
and and so I really do believe that people know what's gonna work for them or what's gonna be supportive, but it's very hard
Mhm,
to listen. And like I
yeah.
can I can support you in listening and I know how to do that. Um,
Mhm,
but I don't know. Like I don't
mhm,
and I think in the beginning, especially because I think when I first started out, I just happened to get more clients who were like, "Please tell me what to do." And you're like,
mm.
"Well, I wanna be a good therapist." Like, we're all here
Ri
as therapists
right.
because we just wanna be good.
Right, right. It's like the underlying pathology of a therapist. It's a great thing to
Yes,
explore.
yes. I recently heard an amazing quote that therapists are people who need to be in therapy 40 hours a week.
Yeah. So we get
So I
that.
really get that.
Yeah.
But I think
Wait, there's a book, oh my god, Drama of the Gifted Child. Have you ever read that book? It's all about, like, why people who are not well are it's for therapists, it's by a therapist for a therapist, and it's basically just like, these are the typical, psychological issues for a therapist, and here we are. It's a great book, Drama of the Gifted Child. But
the
anyway, go
wounded
ahead.
therapist episode of This Jungian Life is also excellent. But, I mean, I
Oh,
think I'm
okay.
sort of bouncing all over the place here, but, like, I think that's the beauty. Like, I am a person learning how to
Mhm.
be a person
Yeah,
as well. And that doesn't mean
yeah.
like, I sort of reject this, like, "Well, we're all anxious," or "We're all a mess." Like,
Mhm.
I I do have more inner space than I had before, and I know
Yep.
and I have more capacity
Yes.
for things, and I work with people who are a little bit ahead of me.
Mhm.
And so I don't you wanna have humility, but
Mhm.
you also are guiding to an extent. And so,
Yeah, I totally see that,
um,
yep.
where do I see people getting stuck, or what advice would I have? I guess I can speak just for myself, because everybody's
Right?
so different.
Mhm.
And where I'm getting stuck now, um, I really struggle with, like, confusion and dissociation. Like, for me, it's
Mm.
not so much that I have these anxiety symptoms or these depressive symptoms, but, like, I move so fast
Mhm.
typically, and I have, like, such an intensity to me, and my clients do as well,
Mhm.
so it's sort of like, um, a constant practice of I actually have this oh my god. I have this stuffed chihuahua,
Mm.
um,
Cute.
that personifies my essence as just, like I just have this, like, very intense, excitable, like, I wanna know, I wanna do everything nature.
I see it. I see it.
And so I keep this chihuahua in this vest that actually same as a vest
Aw.
that I have. Um,
These are the moments where I'm like, I wish this was a video podcast because if listeners could see the little chihuahua stuffed animal in a cute little vest all zipped up, it's ears poking out, it's really
my god,
adorable.
and now I just get emails endlessly that I can't unsubscribe from this pet clothing company. I don't
Naturally.
um, but yeah, I struggle with, like because I am taking in so much information, I'm digesting so much information, I'm with other people's systems all day long, and I try to be present, and I try to be in the resonance, and I just get confused. Um,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so what I do I have this, like, saying that I think I came up with, it just, like, popped into my head. Um, one day is like, support yourself in the physical realm. Like,
Hmm.
when I'm like that, I'm not really myself. So I tell myself, you'll come back.
Hmm.
Like, I was like this earlier this week, and I was like, I have the podcast, so I'm not gonna know what to say. And I was like, you'll come back. Like, y- do the things that you know, where move your body, eat
Yeah.
something, drink water, like
Yeah.
um, yeah, just keep like moving and
I love that.
find the people and communities that make you feel like yourself.
Yes, I think that's so important. You wanna say more about that?
Sure. I think that's been the gift of this career, the people I've met. Like they've
Mm,
really people who actually embody that teaching of like, you know what's best. You are, like we're here to
mm,
bring out your unique essence. You have the wisdom to heal yourself. Like people who actually live by these things. And I
mhm,
feel like more and more I've just been able to sense into like, what is the me that feels like me?
mhm.
Um, yeah, I've gotten very lucky to work with people who know who they are, who have helped
Yeah,
me figure out who I am.
yeah. Well, and let me share that for me, I just totally relate. The way that I used to approach being around other people basically all the time is like, "Do they like me? Like, do you think they like me? Do I does that person like me? Does this person like me?" And now I have become much more attuned to, like, how do I feel in the presence of this person? Do I like them? Which I just did not that's still a work in progress, but I did not have that orientation, honestly, basically at all, and of course, like, if somebody had asked me I think that's the interesting thing about mind body work is that if somebody had asked me, like, at a very conscious level, like, you know, does it matter more if you like the person you're with or if they like you? I'd be like, "Well, both matter, obviously." And, like,
Yeah.
of course I wanna, I want to like the people around me and feel good with the people around me. But on a deeper level, I was not living and still in many ways am not living from that place, but I've gotten much more attuned to that and much better at that, and I totally hear you. It's the gift of, like, really following yourself
Mhm.
and what you really want and really feel is profound.
Yeah, and, like, honest to God, figured out I think I got, like, an embodied sense of what the word boundaries mean, like, a couple of months ago. Like
Sure, yeah,
and like you, very much like, you can feel what other people are feeling, and I have that theater background,
yeah,
and so I'm very compliant and, like, used to saying what I think the other person wants to hear, and I still have this comes up a lot in my own supervision because I have, like, issues with authority.
mhm,
Or, like, wanting to please, and
yeah,
I get very up in that, but once I feel like the somatic work has really helped because now that I can actually sense me and, like, my body
mhm,
boundary, I can sense
mhm,
when something is impinging upon it or when something is
mhm,
in here that shouldn't be in here, um,
mhm,
and I've had some really cool moments, like, actually starting to feel, what's mine, what's somebody else's, and then
mhm,
how do you come back to yourself? And I have a funny story.
mhm.
When I first started practicing, I had a very, very difficult client. I think she was beyond what
Totally.
my skills like, beyond my skill set at the time.
I have had
Yeah.
those too. We've all been there as, probably any helping professional has been there.
Yeah, yeah. And so I was with my now fiancé, then boyfriend's family at the time, and
Mm,
I just got my ass handed to me in this session, and
yeah,
I came downstairs, and my, future mother-in-law was like, do you have, like, an end of day practice? Like, an ending day, like, clearing practice to, like, clear the
hmm,
energy? And I was like, "Yes, I should have that, but I can't sense anything." Like, everything is so loud, I get so confused, I get so dissociate like, and it's not until recently that I'm like, "Oh, you can't just say, 'I'm releasing the energy of somebody else.'" Like, you actually have to feel what's not
yeah,
yours,
yeah,
and that's another, I think, a word to the wise. I did a lot
mm,
of the stuff you're supposed to do, I'm putting that in air quotes,
mhm,
in the early stages of my recovery, like, meditation and, this and that, but I was doing it. I think I was just like too dissociated to feel
Mm.
the benefit
Mhm,
from anything. Uh,
mhm.
and so, yeah, actually slowing down and feeling into what you actually feel, that will tell you what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, this is I'm like, where do I start? I have, like, a few things to say. Let me start with this. First is, I've been really working it's cool to hear how you're working with the energy of boundaries lately. Like, I've been really working with, in my own personal life, the idea of, like, I don't I'm a very much an obligation person. Like, I grew up that way, my conditioning in my family and just, like, in my life. I grew up thinking, like, I've gotta do the things that other people sort of want and need me to do.
Mhm.
And life like that is so exhausting and so miserable and, like, like, if my cat if somebody's like, "Oh, when do you wanna get together again?" And I'm like, how about March or April?" And they're like, "It's July." And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds about right." Like, I think that's what I can handle. I'm like, "This is not a this is an obligation. This is not something I actually wanna do."
Mhm.
And I've become just, like, much more mindful of, like, what is an obligation? What do I actually like? And then sort of, like, trying to get into the mindset of, like, I don't have to do I mean, like, there are things I have to do that I don't wanna do, like chores and cleaning and like, yes, there are some things that I don't wanna do that I will have to do. But, like, when it comes to, like, social obligations and even in some instances, family obligations, you don't have to do that much that you really don't want to do. Because if you don't wanna spend time with this person, then maybe you don't want them in your life. Like, and that's really radical to me, and is I mean, it's just, like, tuning into myself in a deeper way than I thought was possible when I first started this work.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the gift of the symptoms. Like, they're sort
Yes.
of always sort of nudging you towards a deeper truth about yourself or helping you meet a deeper need. I mean, talk about chronic fatigue. I was tracking that for the past couple of years after I would spend time with certain people, I would, like, sleep for, like, 2 days.
Wow, yeah.
And so even just, like, feeling into, "Okay, when I'm with this person, can I be with this person and also be in me?" Because I go
Yeah.
into performance so
Yeah.
quickly, so quickly.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, 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 same, and that's such a shitty place to be. I go into the performance and, just, like, kind of like, like, "I'll be there for you" mode. Like, I'm a master of having I wouldn't even say this is like a friend. This has gotten much better over the years, but it's getting even better now, but years of me having the kind of quote unquote friendship where somebody just, like, lays all their problems on me and everything they're going through, and I'm like, "Oh, no. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, what are you gonna do? Oh, no." And then the number of times that people have said to me over the course of my life, like, after monologuing for, like, an hour, like, "Oh, enough about me. How are you?" And then immediately they look away, pick up their phone, start, checking their notifications, and I'm like, "Why does this happen to me?" And I'm like, "Because I let it. Like, I let it happen to me." And I'm really working on not being that person anymore because I hate being that person. And if it weren't for mind body work, I mean, of course, I know that I don't like being that person, but I don't think I would have known how kind of profoundly that is the false self. That is not my real self.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not authentic 'cause you build resentment then. You're like, "This person's
1,000%.
always coming to me and I da da da." Early
1,000%.
on when I was in school, when I was in one of my internships, I had, like, a long day of, like, seeing clients at this mental health clinic, and somebody just I'm, like, drained to the core, and I walk outside and somebody just comes up to me and out of the blue, and they're like, "I'm so sorry. I don't want money or anything. I just, like, need someone to talk to." And I was like, "Is it
What?
face?"
That's shocking. That's shocking. Wow. Well, let me say, going back to, being smug when you first found this work and first were like, I'm gonna help people with in this mind body world. I totally relate to that. I think there's a very dogmatic, a lot of the practitioners who do this stuff teach great stuff that I actually think is all true. I don't really think there's much out there that is wrong, but something that I do not agree with is like, this is the way. It is always this way. Everyone needs this. Because I think I'm totally with you. It's more complex than that. It has been for me, and it is more complex for most people. Like the clients I work with, it's like, you know, a ton of journaling or a ton of somatic tracking will help. But like there's more that's needed. And the thing that I actually find that most of my clients need and that I have needed myself is something that's much harder to put into words, which is like what we're talking about now, like really knowing yourself and like getting like changing your patterns, which is so different than maybe it's leaving your job, leaving your relationship, moving to a new city, getting a new career. Like maybe it's those things. And actually, weirdly, the clients I work with a lot of clients who, in the process of our work, they make some pretty big life changes, or they at least start the process of making some pretty big life change. Like I'm like, if anybody here listening wants to work with me, know that your life might change a lot if you do so.
It's funny who finds you. I can't put words.
Yeah. But I have I just think that the thing that a lot of people need is something that is very hard to teach in a podcast because it is very individualized, and it's like all the self-suppression and all the people pleasing and all the taking your cues from outside instead of inside that manifests for everyone differently. And it's it's just so related to the chronic pain, and to it's hard to know that. It's hard to know that for yourself. It's hard to like teach that to someone else. But when you're in like a therapeutic relationship with someone, it makes it much easier to grasp that stuff and see it and have someone else point it out to you. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously a good therapist because you got right to the yeah, I can be smug for sure, and I would say that's definitely my biggest fault. I sort of go into, like, superiority when I feel insecure or like I'm being questioned. I remember, um, I was like my fiancé was helping me. He was, like, coaching me 'cause it was, like, getting
Mhm,
me into trouble in sessions. I'm like, "Well, that's not why you're in pain. This is why you're
mhm.
in pain. Like, these are the primary drivers of pain." And he was like,
Which you're probably not wrong.
I
However.
right. I know, but he was like, "You can't say that." You know, I think there's a lot of, how to what is it? How to win friends and influence people with this
Yeah,
book.
right.
But I listened to this podcast recently. Let me see if I can get the Dr. Jacob Ham, I think. It's called,
Hmm,
like, "What is Trauma Treatment Really Like?" or something.
hmm,
I think that's what it's
cool.
called. But he talks about this idea of, like, tight questions and, like, spacious questions and, like, "Hey,
Hmm,
work, what do I do?" You know, "What's the answer?" Like, that's all just very tight.
hmm,
And
hmm,
so and even giving an answer myself, like, I can tell when I'm intervening from a place of, like, "Well, this is what you do," or, like, "Well," like, so
mhm,
the more I can just and it's maddening, it's so hard for me, chihuahua,
mhm.
like,
To
to
loosen up, yeah.
to this, like, spacious place because that's what causes change is, I think,
Mhm,
somebody coming to you with urgency, anxiety, you know, panic, hopelessness, and having the other person, like, actually metabolize it.
yeah,
And if I meet your urgency with urgency, which is so
yes,
hard as a it's like
yes.
this is like my cosmic reward and punishment, like, having people be
Mhm,
like, "Tell me what to do, tell me what to do," and all I wanna do is tell them what to do.
yeah, yeah.
You can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yes. No, that is I love that because it is so interesting as a therapist, like, the clients who are attracted to you, like, like, some of that's like, well, it's because of your marketing or whatever. Sure, all that is true, but there is something more going on there for sure, and it's just funny that, like, people are attracted to you who are like, "What do I do?" And you're like, God, I want to answer that question, but
You
it's
feel
too tight.
your
Like,
body. But it really is like, as I've worked that way, I've changed and my clients have changed, and it's this really beautiful, like, relational process of, like, sort of, can we
yeah,
both be in this thing together? Um,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, well, as we're winding down, well, anything else? Any other little pearls of wisdom about your recovery, or anything else you want to add before we get to your info?
No pearls of wisdom from me, but I just wanna, like, thank you for the energy that you bring to this space. You have such a, like, you have a playfulness to you that is so necessary.
Hmm. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now I'm like, "Am I people pleasing?" But I really do, like, I texted you after I listened to your first podcast, like, this field is changing, so
Hmm.
it's there are there's more out there than there ever has been, which is great, and, like,
Mhm.
I feel like you are really speaking to the new age of challenges in mind body recovery, which is like, what do I listen to? How do I do this? What's
Yeah.
right? And there's sort of something funny about all of it. And
Agreed. Thank you. I thank you for saying that. I appreciate
yeah,
that. I'll say it's funny. I actually had recently a review on the podcast that was like, speaking of like psychological defenses, there's a review on the podcast that was like, the content is good, but the host is always fucking
I saw
laughing.
that.
And I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ." And then I in thinking about it, I was like, that, first of all, I'm like, if you don't like the humor, maybe the podcast isn't for you, because it is. I agree with you. It is funny. Like, I don't know. I have like sort of that's just my sense of humor. I think like bad things are funny, and like you being in the hospital and unable to speak it is rock bottom, and it is funny, especially when you come out on the other side and you're like, it's fine. Like, I'm
Yeah,
actually okay. Like, I was healthy the whole time. Um, but it is true that I really do, I see that in myself. I mean, I do that in my life where I use humor to, like, avoid emotion, and I'm like that I'm like, trying to strike a balance on the podcast as well as in my life between, like, be letting the humor live and being serious when it's time to be serious, because sometimes it is, things are gravely serious. And this field, people are really hurting and really suffering, and people are suicidal, and people are really hurting. So it is obviously very serious. And I just love that you appreciate the humor, because to me that's so important. Like, why wake up and live a day if you can't like enjoy it a little bit? So thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. And I can only hide my woo for so long, but I pulled a card this morning. Oh my god. You're not for everyone.
Oh, that's such a good
Face your
one.
weirdness, face your true north.
Period.
Good.
Period. You're not. But the more you're not for everyone, the more you are for the people who you are for.
Yeah.
Um, all right, Jess, where can people find you if they are interested in learning more about you, or if they want a therapist and they want to work with you, they're drawn to your energy, they're into the chihuahua style.
Chihuahua. You can find me on Psychology Today under Jess Freedman, Freedman, LMSW. The practice I'm at is going through a name change right now. So as that changes, just Psychology Today, you'll be able to find me. And I also have a Substack, which is an
Awesome.
exercise and um, I say it's an exercise in like creative expression and trying not to be perfectionistic, but I I lose my mind over everything I post. So
Podcast is the same. So I'm like, even though the podcast is far from perfect, I'm trying so hard to make it perfect. So I
I
feel
know,
you.
I know. I'm like, no one reads it except my dad, but it has to be perfect. And that is a chronic pain therapist. So
Awesome. That's good. I love it. I love it. Um, all those links will be in the show notes.
yes. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Jess, thank you so much for coming on. This has been so fun.
This was
And I just really I appreciate the leadership that you're taking on in this field, like leading. the Rewire NYC group, which I'm just like, this field is going to keep growing,
Mhm.
and we're in it at a really cool time, and it's exciting, and it's cool to see, like, in like 5 years, 10 years, I wonder where we will be with this. It's I can't wait.
Yeah, and I love when I see your face pop up on the Zoom. I'm like, "Oh, Sean came."
Yeah. Always happy to be there. Always happy to be
Well,
there.
thank you for having me, and thank you for what you're
Absolutely.
doing.
Right back at you. Right back at you. And for everybody listening, this has been Mind Body Medicine for Chronic Pain, and I will talk to you next week. If you're looking for a therapist, you found one. And you can decide. Does my vibe resonate with you? Therapy is an opportunity. Therapy is an opportunity to tune into you, to learn to feel more comfortable being yourself, to feel more comfortable with your emotions, and to feel more comfortable existing in the world in your body. Do you have difficulties in your life? Maybe it's chronic pain, maybe it's something else. Maybe you want to become a person who likes yourself. Do you want a therapist to help you? And would you like me to get to know you and to help you? That is actually an option. You can find me at SeanHershey.com or mindbodymedicineforchronicpain.com. Both go to the same place, and if you're looking for me, I'd welcome a message from you. SeanHershey.com, mindbodymedicineforchronicpain.com, and you can request a free consultation.